welcome to the family meeting. We're glad you're with us today. We are excited about the conversation we're going to have today because it's really, really important in parenting. We're talking today about how to get your kids to listen without raising your voice. So we're going to kind of...
Is that even possible?
It is possible. It is possible. I would say that in our house, we did it. Like, our kids listened and we didn't yell. So it can be done.
Not all the time. We didn't yell.
We sometimes yelled. Yes, there were times, but it was like rare, very few and far between. And most of the time they listened. So yeah, I definitely say that it is possible. It is the season of joy and happiness. Yeah. And it's also the season of a lot of stress and financial pressure. So yelling can be something that happens at this season. Actually, I love when we have our podcast during Christmas season because our Christmas tree is right over here.
Yep, we put our Christmas tree up. Yeah.
So we get to just stare at the pretty Christmas tree as we have our discussion today. But we're glad that you're with us. We hope that you are all ready for the holiday. Hopefully you've got your tree up, you've got Christmas presents well underway, and hopefully though you're taking some time to remember the reason for the season, which is Jesus and his coming here to earth. He is the source of joy. So if you don't know that, this is the time to really stop and think about that. Why do you sometimes feel like there's no joy?
Yeah.
It might be that you're not focused on Jesus this Christmas. So focus on him and that joy will come in. But I think we're ready to record. You ready?
I think so.
All right, start us off, love.
We are getting ready. Gather round, everybody. It's time for a family meeting. The family meeting is a show that's all about family relationships. We're the Osterkamps. I'm Thomas, and this is my wife, Lysandra.
Hello, and welcome to our family. Welcome to episode 272 of the Family Meeting Podcast. I was reading those numbers, and I was like, 227? 272. I have a hint of dyslexia. Just a hint. On today's episode, we're going to discuss how to get your kids to listen to you without yelling. And Thomas asked our YouTubes this question.
Is that even possible?
And I say, yes, it is. Now, we pretty much never yelled.
But did we yell?
Yes. It was just very rare and few and far between.
So let me ask you this.
Okay.
Was there yelling in your house?
Very rarely, but yes.
What was a time that you remember yelling?
Oh, as a child, did I yell?
No, in your house,
Did my parents yell?
Yeah. Did you remember just yelling happening?
So my parents rarely yelled, but they would, my dad would yell if probably I would say if he was more stressed or if we repeatedly didn't listen. But I don't remember him yelling as much as being really firm. And then
there is a difference.
Yeah. My mom wasn't the disciplinarian. My dad was. So my mom, I remember her yelling. It's still a story that we tease her about to this day. And that's going to happen in our house. That's already happened, I guess, in our house. Your kids make.
What's the story?
It's so simple and so stupid, but it's so funny. We had a wooden paddle. So it was a piece of wood that I think my dad had sanded down and fashioned a handle.
Yeah.
So it was just a piece of wood. But it was our paddle, and that was after breaking all the wooden spoons in the house. And my mom was like, stop using my wooden spoons to spank the kids.
Side note, we have a book on discipline we're finalizing right now. So.
Yes, it's coming, guys. But anyway, so I remember my mom and my brother and sister remember this too. She had the spanking paddle, and she was shaking it at us, pointing at us. And she was like, I'll do it. I'll do it. I promise I'll do it. And we were all like, she's not going to do it.
No, you're not, Mom.
And if my memory is correct, she didn't.
Now, my mom would do it.
Your mom would do it,
My mom would not say, I'm going to do it. She would just do it.
Yeah, you never even got the warning, did you?
No.
It was it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny. But even then, it wasn't like my mom was yelling. She was just threatening really passionately. I wouldn't even call it yelling probably. But
yeah, just being forceful.
Yeah. So my parents rarely yelled. If anyone yelled, it would have been my dad, and it wasn't very often. He was more just really passionate and serious and firm, and we knew he meant business, and we were all terrified of my dad. I think in a healthy way. I look at it as in a healthy way. My sister would agree with me. My brother, I'm not sure. We'd have to ask him if he agrees.
Yeah.
That it was a healthy fear of my dad, respect. But
we need to have your brother on the podcast and just talk to him.
Oh my gosh, that would be so fun. Yeah, I don't know what he would say. It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what about you? Yelling in your house?
Yeah, we had yelling in our house. It was a loud house anyway. Loud family. So it was just kind of like we are already loud, and so when it came to discipline, it got louder. And it's funny because like now, as if I raise my voice to any level, Lysander's like, "Why are you yelling?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "This is not yelling. Like I can show you yelling if you want to hear what yelling's actually like."
No, thank you.
But yeah, there was yelling for sure.
Yeah. So here's kind of the premise of what we want to talk about today. If the only way that your kids will listen is when you yell, something isn't working.
Right, yeah.
Something's wrong. If the only way your kids will listen to you is if you yell, that's not a good situation.
Well, it's like they just don't take what you say seriously
Exactly.
until it gets to a certain volume. And then it's like, oh, now they mean business. Now they're going to follow through.
Yeah. So the best thing you can do is help them to understand that you will follow through before you ever get to that point. And that's creating a new culture in your home. And there is good news that it can change.
Yeah.
Culture can change. You can change the direction of your family. You can change the way that you interact with your kids. You can change your yelling. You can stop yelling.
Yep.
You absolutely can. And your kids can listen to you without yelling. And we're going to really talk about all of this. We're going to look at it from different directions. First and foremost, we're going to go to the Word of God and see what it says. And then we've got some tips and things I think that are going to help you.
It is Christmas time. Our Christmas tree is up. You would not know from the YouTube video probably that our Christmas tree sits between our table where we're sitting and the camera that is recording right now. You might catch a blue reflection in the back of the laptops, maybe. And so you know that our Christmas tree is there, and that means it's time to wrap up those last few Christmas gifts that you need. And here's the thing. I want you to stop and just think about all the married people you know in your life. Okay?
A lot.
So you think about all those married people, all their marriages are horrible.
Yeah, definitely.
And they
No question.
need your help. And here's what you can do for them. You can go to familymeeting.org/shop and order them a copy of our book, Happily Never After. You say, well, how do you know that their marriages are terrible? Because ours is. And there's nothing like a bad example to learn lessons from.
You are no longer in charge of commercials.
Go and buy them a copy today, and you will save their marriage, save their family's future, all in a simple Christmas gift.
Yeah.
There's power in a small little gift. But Happily Never After is 5 things that we did wrong, and then 5 things we did to correct those wrong things to make our marriage what it is today. I think it's good.
Yeah, to make it what it is today, which is terrible, as you just said.
Well, and here's the thing. I always think our marriage is good until Lysandra is like, hey, we need to talk. And then I'm like, oh, things aren't good? Like, I thought they were good.
I can't remember the last time you came to me and said, we need to talk. Have you ever?
I don't think I ever have.
I don't think he's one time been like, hey, there's a situation in our marriage, or you're doing something I don't like, or you're offending me, or anything.
Yeah. I'm just like I'm very happy in our relationship.
It makes me sound like a nagger. Either I am the nagger, or you're the only person with problems.
And that's probably it.
So
like,
which one is it? I think I'm the nagger.
No, I don't think you're the one who nags. I think that I mean, people who listen to our podcast know, like, it's definitely him.
I don't agree. Okay.
So, familymeeting.org/shop.
Yes.
Happily Never After.
Yes.
You can also get it on Amazon as well.
Yes.
Easiest way to find it there. Type in Lysandra Osterkamp.
Yeah.
Because there's not many of them.
I'm just going to be honest with you, Thomas. If I was going to go buy something, I would not go to a specific website. I would go to Amazon because my card is already connected there. It's like 2 clicks and it's bought, and it's just so easy. So I'm just being honest.
Yeah, Amazon is great, but you want a personal signed copy, then
Can't get that from Amazon.
Got to go to
That
familymeeting.org.
comes from right here in our living room.
Yes.
Because we have those books right here in our living room that we sign and send to you personally. What?
Yep.
Sounds pretty amazing. Okay. Are we ready to dive into this discussion?
I think so.
I mean, we need to get moving here. Here's the deal. I told Thomas before we started this episode, there's so much that I want to get into this because I think it's such a good topic and really, really important for parents of kids, no matter what their age may be. And so I told him, I was like, we got to rush through this so that we can get to all the content. And I don't know if it's going to happen. So we got to stay focused, babe.
I'm trying.
Okay, biblical principles. Let's talk about some biblical principles that are going to shape respectful, peaceful communication at home. I love this verse in Proverbs 15, chapter 1. A soft answer turns away wrath, but harsh words stir up anger. And this, I mean, oh my gosh, it's so very, very true. If we would just go to the Bible first, we would save ourselves so many issues. Like, God knew beforehand. Before you ever started yelling at your kids, God knew beforehand that it was going to make things worse. And just think about this. When you get yelled at, what is stirred up in you? Anger.
Yeah.
No doubt, no question. And the Word of God told us this years and years ago.
Well, and the scripture has a lot to say about discipline. As far as I know, when it concerns the disciplining of children, the father is the one who's always mentioned, and fathers are commanded not to provoke your children to anger. Mm-hmm. And when we raise our voice and we yell at our kids, it's the exact opposite of what we're supposed to be doing in Proverbs 15:1 is, hey, what you say should be taken seriously. No, the tone shouldn't matter. And so, but yeah, that soft answer.
Yeah, it's so important. So you want to really avoid stirring up anger with your kids, right? It just creates this horrible tension in a home. But a gentle approach is going to calm tension, right? And what are we trying to do? Are we trying to escalate things or are we trying to calm things down? I think all of us are looking for peace in the home.
Yeah.
I think when we really think about it, we want peace.
Well, and yelling just doesn't bring a resolution to whatever the situation is.
No,
like,
it doesn't help
You're
anything.
angry, you're upset about whatever, your kids aren't listening, they're disobeying, or whatever. The times that I have got angry and yelled at my kids for something, like that never resulted in resolution. It only resulted in compounding the problem, and then I got to go back and say, girls, daddy should not have spoken to you that way. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Mm-hmm. So we have to work through that before then we can work through the other situation that it started in the first place.
Yeah. And we have to understand that the way we say it matters as much as what we say. I'm going to say that again.
Maybe more.
Yeah, the way we say it matters more than what we say.
Because we've talked about body language and on tone and all of that and how much that communicates much more statistically than the content itself.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
So we ought to be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger, as James 1:19 tells us. And it's something that I try to remember as a parent because, parenting is hard. It's tough. It's never easy. And I was just talking with a dad the other day, and we were sitting down, and I'm like, he was asking some advice about parenting, and I'm like, hey, listen, none of us have done this before. Like, no matter what, it's brand new. If you have one kid, you've never had a kid before. And so that's brand new. Well, you bring another kid in, it's like, well, I've parented one child, but I've never been the dad of two kids, or three now, or four now.
Or of this kid who has this personality type.
Yep, or this kid at this age.
Yes.
So, like, every season of parenting brings something brand new, and you take the things that you've learned in other situations and apply them to the current, but, like, it's frustrating, it's difficult, it's challenging, and there is that temptation to raise our volume, to yell, to let our anger and frustration control us. But James reminds us, listen, we should be slow to anger, and he also talks about, man's wrath never works out God's righteousness. In other words, nothing productive is going to happen when I'm angry.
Right. That's right. Okay, so we are talking about parenting without yelling. We are talking about getting your kids to obey without yelling. And this is not just about when your kids are little. This totally goes right up into teenagers. So whether you've got toddlers, teenagers, or anything in between, understand that every child responds better to calm authority than angry intensity. All right? So how can you make that shift, right? We have to understand that, and we're going to talk about that today. But we also want to talk about why it's better not to yell. How is it going to actually make your kids listen better? Because I think a lot of parents have this idea, like, you don't understand. If I don't yell at my kids, they won't listen.
Yeah.
Well, I want to very gently and lovingly explain to you that the reason that is the only thing that works is it's because this is the culture you as a parent have set in your home.
Well, and I think it's also important for us to just think about it. I think sometimes we think of our kids as something other than people. And it's like, well, just think of how you respond when somebody yells at you.
Not well.
And now you're yelling at your kids. You're expecting a good result from this, and most of the time, it's not going to happen.
No.
It's definitely not going to create a good culture or good routine.
No.
The first time, it might shock them into a certain conformity of whatever it is you're looking for, but this pattern over time just creates more problems than solutions.
Yeah, and you have to yell louder and louder and get more intense and say more harsh things in order to keep it going, because they'll start to tune you out. But calm, consistent boundaries actually increase obedience. And here's why. Predictability lowers anxiety. Don't you feel that in your own life? This is actually something we talk about in our book that's coming out soon, Parenting and Discipline. Children obey more, when they know what's expected. They know what happens if expectations aren't met, and the response is going to be the same every time. So all of those things, they are going to obey, because they're going to obey better, all right? Because there's less anxiety. When consequences fluctuate based on the adult's mood, then kids are going to feel more insecure, and they're going to test limits more because they're trying to figure you out. They don't even understand you. You may not understand yourself. But predictability equals security, and security equals cooperation. So this is one thing that's going to help you to get your kids to listen without yelling, is if you can be more predictable and help them to understand what is expected of them in a calm way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you want to be predictable, but not predictable as like your mom was predictable. Where it's like, we know she's not gonna do anything, right? Or predictable in like, hey, first she's gonna start here, then she's gonna go here, and then the volume's gonna get to this certain level, and then after that, I know that I've got to move.
Or like when mom finally says, after yelling at us for like 5 minutes, when she finally says, "I'm gonna blow a gasket," that's when you know it's serious. I remember that. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
There was a kid in our Christian school years ago, like 20 years ago, and he said, he knows that he doesn't have to worry about what his mom says until she says, "I'm going to blow a gasket." And it's like, because then that was when she would actually move to action. And it's so funny. It's like, why go through all that stuff in between? Just move to action.
Yeah. And do you know what a gasket is?
I don't even know what a gasket is. I know it's a car part. Yes?
Something to do with cars. Okay. I'm not a mechanic.
I thought you were testing me to prove that you knew and I didn't.
I mean, I have a basic idea of what a gasket is, but
yeah, I don't know. But when it's blown, it's bad.
It's very bad. Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, so I've been told.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: calmness keeps the child's brain open to learning, right? So, a lot of people, when the volume goes up, like, their brain shuts down.
And I'm one of those people.
That's a natural response within us.
Yep.
We kind of get this fight or flight thing that kind of happens. And so brain starts to shut down, and where they're no longer listening to what you're actually saying.
When someone yells at me, I feel like a deer in the headlights. Like, I freeze and I stare, and what happens inside my brain, or like what I see visually, is darkness.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm a very like visual, I see pictures in my brain. So it's like darkness when someone yells at me, and I cannot compute properly. Like, I can no longer think properly. It's really bad.
Yeah. Unless you've been like conditioned to where that high volume is happening all the time, and so you're just kind of used to it, right?
Yeah.
If you're not, I mean, then things kind of shut down, and a child has more difficulty learning or complying when they feel yelled at, when the adult seems out of control, their nervous system is overwhelmed, and we're hoping to get whatever the behavior is to change, right, or try to correct the situation. And so a much more productive route is going to be a calm adult.
Yeah.
Because they help the child stay regulated, which keeps the thinking brain online. So when you have a regulated parent, all right, slow to anger, as James talks about, soft answer, all of that, then that helps to create a regulated child, which turns into better obedience and instruction in whatever the situation is.
So consistency in dealing with your children. So we aren't talking about consistently yelling or consistently, screaming that you're going to blow a gasket. We're talking consistent in your threats and in the discipline that takes place after disobedience. When you're consistent in that, kids obey much better. Okay? Because they start to understand, all right, if I do X, Y happens every time.
Yeah.
This builds trust in the parent's leadership and in the structure of the home. So it's going to help your child to know this is what happens every time. That means you have to go through. Here's another side note here. Don't make threats you're never going to follow through on. There are some things that parents say, they're never, ever going to make their child do that thing because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And guess what? Your child knows that too.
Yeah.
They're smarter than maybe you give them credit for.
That's like our friends Drew and Chloe. We were talking to them, and Drew one time, I don't remember the situation with his children. Drew one time threatened and was like, "You kids are never eating pizza. I'm never
Little Caesars.
Yeah, never get Little Caesars again." And it's like, okay, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. So
Yeah.
So.
He quickly apologized for that and changed his tune on that. And it was good, but that was a funny story.
Don't give a threat you're not actually going to follow through. Because let's be honest, Little Caesars is cheap, it's quick, it's easy. It's
going to happen again.
Yeah. It's like you got a late night and you don't have time to run home and make dinner. It's Little Caesars.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Yeah. So think about those threats that you make because you can't follow through on threats that are ridiculous. Only make threats that are follow through, that you can follow through on. And when you are inconsistent on your follow through, it's going to teach them to gamble or negotiate instead of obey. So they're going to be like, okay, let's see if she's really going to do it this time. Let's see how far I can get. Let's see what I can do. And that's going to make you angry and make you want to yell.
And calm boundaries, right? Setting these boundaries
in a calm way
help reduce power struggles. When the rule is firm and delivered calmly, children learn a couple of things. First of all, they learn that arguing won't change the boundary.
Yep, that's really important.
They're not going to get a big emotional reaction, and there's no reward for pushing back. So over time, they stop trying to fight battles they can't win. So this is different than them coming and asking for permission for X, Y, or Z. Say in the instance of curfew. Curfew's normally 10 p.m., but Dad, my boyfriend has this event with his family. Can I stay out till 11?
And any family that has family gatherings and events that go till 11 are insane.
Oh, I agree.
But more power to y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want my family events to end at 6:30.
Yeah, I'm more about the lunch events.
Yes, let's do lunch and all go to bed early. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's good. But I'm just saying, when we're talking about things that won't budge, it's different when they misbehave and then they try to, work out some sort of deal.
Where they don't get their punishment.
Yeah, versus coming to you ahead of time and saying, there's this certain thing, and it is a very specific exception for this very reason.
Yeah. Yep. And calm boundaries also protect the relationship with the child and the parent, right? We want to have a great relationship with our children when they're young and when they're older, and we want our adult children to want to be around us, want to be with us. And so there's so many reasons that calm boundaries are good, and calm is the key word here, right? Children obey more willingly when they feel respected, when they feel emotionally shamed. Is it okay for you emotionally safe? I said shamed. Yeah. Is it okay for you to disrespect your child? I mean, I understand you're the parent, You deserve respect. They should be respectful. We expect that out of our children. But what about you as a parent? Should you respect your child?
Well, I mean, the answer is yes, but I just want to comment on something right before that. Because you talked about, like, you're the parent, you should be respected. But I think even as parents, we need to live our lives in such a way that our kids can respect us.
Exactly.
And if we're inconsistent, if they never know which side of us they're going to get, if we're screaming and shouting about every little thing, like that's not behavior that commands respect. Like,
no.
Even though we're commanded from Scripture, no matter what, to honor your father and your mother, like that's still, I'm still held accountable and responsible to make sure that I'm living in my life in such a way in front of my kids that they can respect me.
Absolutely. That's right. But we need to treat our kids with respect as well. Kids will obey better when they're emotionally safe, when they're not shamed, when they're not threatened. They'll obey better when they feel loved. Like, our kids genuinely want to obey us. They want to please us. And I know that is a result of love.
Yeah.
They love us and they want to please us. We love them and they want to please us. And it's the same thing with God. Like, I so desperately want God to be pleased with my life and with the things I say, with the things I do, how I spend my time. But it's not because I'm afraid of him. It's because I love him. I so desperately want him to be, to approve of the choices I make and to be in line with him because I love him. So understanding that firm but kind boundaries do preserve connection, and connection is what make kids want to cooperate. They don't just comply out of fear. There's a relationship there.
Well, and it's like we had a situation that happened just the other day. So Lysandra and I were going to go meet another couple for breakfast. And then we had people coming over for lunch. So we were going to go to breakfast. That the couple canceled, and we decided we're still going to go. We're going to have a date. And before we left, I told the daughter whose day it was to do dishes, because there were dishes in the sink that morning. They were left over from the night before. So actually, it was not supposed to be her day, but because
it became her day.
The punishment of not finishing the dishes before you go to bed, today's your day also. So I said, "Hey, Mom and I are going to breakfast. When we come back, we've got people coming over, and Mom needs to start cooking when we get home from breakfast, so make sure the dishes are done." So we go out, we have our date at High Tulip. Great place if you're in Flagler Beach area. Great breakfast spot. Although they didn't have lattes that day, which was quite comical.
I was so devastated. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
But I come home, and I immediately notice, like, the dishes aren't done. And which is rare. I don't notice things, but I happened to notice they weren't done before we left, and then they weren't done when I got home.
And it's rare that they wouldn't obey.
And so I go upstairs, and I see that particular daughter, and I think she was sweeping and cleaning up the living room upstairs. But I'm like, didn't I tell you to make sure the dishes were done before we got home, because your mom needs to start cooking right now? And it was just like that. But like, I could have, and she was like, "Okay, I'm sorry." She apologized. She immediately went down and got the dishes done, and everything was fine. But like, I could have went up there and I could have just started, like, I see the dishes, I could have started yelling. Now, probably early on in parenting, I might have been guilty of that when they were younger. But that calm firmness models the behavior that you want to see in your kids.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't even know that interaction took place because I was downstairs already beginning to cook, and I didn't even hear you talking to her. So that's how quiet it was. I didn't even hear the interaction.
And you can hear everything in this house.
Yeah.
But kids learn far more from what adults do than what adults say.
Yeah.
Like, they're always watching our behavior. They're always watching how we respond, what we do, what we say. And this is the thing. If you yell, your children will yell.
Absolutely.
Like, they'll yell at you. They'll yell at their siblings. Most likely their own future children if they have them. we tend to just model the behavior that's in front of us and think this is the way you do it.
Yeah.
So if I yell as a parent, my go-to is, okay, this is how you parent. Like, this is what you do to your kids, is you yell at them. But when a parent enforces boundaries without anger, kids learn assertiveness without aggression.
Yeah, which that's what we want.
They learn respectful communication. They learn emotional self-control, like James talks about, among other things. So we need to take the initiative as the parents to model the behavior that we want to see replicated in our kids. And probably you don't want to see them replicating the bad qualities, the yelling, the anger, the outburst, the inconsistency, right? And so there are going to be times where we kind of mess up. Like, we're being honest with you. There's times where I yell at my kids. It's few and far between at this point in our lives. But when that happens, I got to own it with my kids and let them know that's not correct behavior. And even in that, there's a learning. That's part of the learning process and teaching my kids what to do when you make a mistake, when you fail. But I want to see them model that behavior of, like, under control.
Yes, because our kids don't really yell at all, like any of them. But I think that's why, because we didn't do that in our house. So I remember specific times that I yelled at the girls. Like, I can remember, especially when they were younger and we were homeschooling. It was almost...
All right, so let's give an example. Give us a time.
There was one daughter who really struggled with doing her schoolwork, and I homeschooled, so I was the teacher and I was also the enforcer and the principal and everything, right? So that was the time that there was the most conflict, and I remember yelling at her to do the quiz. Do the quiz. I told you to do the quiz, and yelling at her. And she was so freaked out that I yelled at her.
Yeah.
That she did the quiz. And I remember thinking, like, oh, that worked. And being so excited that worked.
Yeah.
So then I yelled at her the next day.
Right, because it does. It triggers this little reward thing inside you that, like, oh, that got compliance.
Yes.
And so next time I need compliance, I can just do that.
Exactly.
Like, it's the easier thing to do.
It's easy. It's quick.
It's like the easier thing to do in the short term.
Yes. And the next day I did it again. And the third day when I yelled, she didn't do anything.
Yeah.
She was used to it by the third day. And I remember yelling louder at that point. And then I was like, oh my gosh, who have I become? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm yelling, and I swore I would never yell. Like, I'm not into yelling. I don't like it. I don't like it being done to me. I don't want my kids to do it. So I was like really upset with myself. I apologized to her. I apologized to all the other girls. And I said, I'm not going to do that anymore. We're going to figure out a different way for you to obey and do your schoolwork. I won't yell anymore. And I didn't. I mean, like, pretty much I didn't yell. Like, I'm trying to think back, and I remember things usually pretty well.
Then there'd be phone calls or texts of like, hey, I need you to come home and deal with so-and-so because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Yep. And so then I bring in the big guns. That's Thomas. But yeah, so the point is, like, we don't want our kids to yell. We don't want to create that culture. It starts with you, mom and dad. So what's something you can do instead? All right. One thing that you can do is ask some questions, or like Thomas asked that question just the other day to that daughter. He said, didn't I tell you to do the dishes before we got home? So maybe you can ask a question that's going to calmly, that is going to get them to think about the situation.
Well, and going back to something that was touched upon earlier, is just being as clear as possible. Like, I even had given her the why behind it. Like, I need this done before this because of, so like she had all the information in front of her. And it was just a matter of like going back and repeating it. Like, hey, didn't I ask you to do this because...
Yeah. Like, it's almost like you're saying, like, didn't you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that you can do is you can say this. The next step is fill in the blank, right? Okay, so...
I like that.
Yeah. So rather than yelling at them and screaming at them and being like, the next step that you need to take is to put all the toys in the bin. And the reason that this is a good thing to do is because it's clear direction and it's not nagging. It helps kids focus on the action, not the argument. It puts responsibility back on them to take their next step, and it avoids repeating the same instruction over and over, right? So when you want obedience, but you don't want the battle. You need to think about the next step. So maybe it's bedtime. Your next step is to brush your teeth. Okay, go take your next step. Your next step is to take your drink of water. Your next step is your jammies, whatever. Chores, right? Your next step is to go do the dishes. Whatever it may be. Think about what is their next step and try using that phrase instead of yelling.
Well, I one of the things I love about this is that oftentimes disobedience isn't just outright defiance. Sometimes it's because we haven't really communicated expectations clearly.
Absolutely.
Like when we just say, hey, clean up this particular room. Maybe it's their bedroom or whatever else. Well, their idea of clean is probably different than your idea of clean.
Man,
and so what happens is you tell them to clean up. They move a few things around. They feel like it's clean. And then you walk up there and you're like, this is not clean. And so you get angry, you get upset. But when we're very specific and like, and you know your children, right? And you know the age they're at and the level they're at and what they can handle. So that like when they're younger, you may need to give exactly very clear specifics. Like I want you, and depending on your kid and ADHD and whatever else, like they can focus or not focus. Like some kids can literally only focus on one step at a time. And it's like, hey, I want you to put your pants on. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're going to tell them. And then once the pants are on, hey, put your socks on, put your shirt on. Instead of, you can't just tell them get dressed.
Go get dressed. Yeah, it's too much.
And so when we give them that clear direction, like this is your next step. Mm-hmm. Now, eventually they should move on as teenagers and you should be able to say, I want you to clean your room. And they know what that means now.
You sometimes still need to be specific though.
Yeah.
In our case.
Where it's like, hey, clean your room means also like do your dirty laundry. Like
yeah,
fold your clothes, put them away. Like I washed them and they're in the hamper, like put them away.
Yeah.
But another phrase you talked about, phrases that work better than yelling or repeating yourself. So next step is a great one. Another phrase to use instead of raising your voice is that was the warning. Here's the consequence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good.
So it's like, I'm not repeating myself 100 times. Like our children need to learn that when we say something, we mean it. And we've already done episodes and talked in the past about communication and making sure that your kids hear you. And so like we will often have our kids repeat back to us, like, what did I just tell you? If I feel like there's any inkling at all that they didn't hear me or they don't understand, repeat it back to me and make sure. So we've already made sure they understand what the direction is. And so this brings it down to, hey, when I say something, I mean it. Like I'm not repeating myself. I'm not doing the 1, 2, 3. I'm not counting down. I'm not saying it again. And when I say it, like I mean it. Mm-hmm. And the reason it works is it shows consistency and follow through. Yeah. And it protects you from negotiating, from repeating yourself, and it really helps your child learn cause and effect. Like, yes. You can choose not to do what I'm asking you to do or what I'm telling you to do, but this is going to be the consequence. And, of course, we know ahead of time, they understand ahead of time what the consequences and all that are. Mm-hmm. So
that's right. This is good, too. You may choose A or B. So giving them an option when you can. You can't always do this, but maybe you can. So maybe you can say something like, you can either get dressed or we can skip the play date. You may either do the dishes or you may go take a nap and then do the dishes. Like, what is it that you need? And this maybe can give your child a sense of control, right? So this is within your boundary. You're not changing your boundary, but you're allowing them to maybe feel a little bit more empowered and maybe they're strong-willed. If they are very strong-willed, this can help them move forward because now they have a little bit of control in the situation. They are still going to get the place where you need them to go, right?
Yeah.
And we did this, I wouldn't say exactly this, but like when you think about like it's time to leave the park, I never just said, okay, time to go. It was always in 10 minutes, we're leaving. Okay, in 5 minutes, we're leaving. In 3 minutes, we're leaving. Things like that to kind of help them to understand it's coming soon.
And then it was like, okay, you can go do one more thing real quick, and then we're leaving. So you can go
One
down
last
that slide or whatever.
Yep. So thinking about that and just giving them maybe a little bit more emotional preparedness, so like they know what's coming, and choosing A or B can help in this situation too. So you can say, you can choose to play for 5 more minutes, or you can choose to go get ice cream now. So they have a little bit of a choice there, and it really doesn't make any difference to you unless you really want ice cream.
Yeah.
But keeping it within your boundaries.
So along this lines, when you're talking about choosing A or B, don't have secret option C.
Yeah, like your dad.
So my dad,
I know where this is going.
Dad had secret option C that I didn't know about at the time. My mom, I probably have told this on the podcast. We got a lot of new listeners. My mom was always home. I mean, she worked during the day, but she was like always home at night. So like she was never gone. But for whatever reason, she was out of town, and I don't remember what it was for. Dad was watching us, and so like the food was not what we were accustomed to, let's just say. And my dad took tortilla shells and whatever leftovers he could find in the fridge, and he made us like leftover burrito surprise.
That sounds so gross.
Yeah. And so he was like, okay, you can you got a choice, right? You got A or B. It's like you can eat the burrito, because we obviously did not want to eat this burrito. You can eat the burrito and stay up and play video games, which we love to play video games with our dad. Like some of my funnest times were playing video games with him when he got off work at midnight, and we'd stay up late and play. Or, so you can do that. You can eat the burrito, stay up, play video games, or you can go to bed. And it was like, good night.
Good night.
I'll see you in the morning. Like,
that's how bad those were. They must have been so bad, because that was like, and he thought for sure you'd eat those burritos.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He was pretty confident.
He was very confident. Sure. And then so once he realized like, oh, they're not choosing the thing I want them to choose, then it was like secret option C came out. It was like, eat the burrito, get a spanking, and then go to bed. It was like, dang.
So did you eat the burrito?
Should have seen that coming. Oh yeah. There was no choice at that point. Like, it was a facade of a choice in the first place, but it was definitely very clear. Like, no, there's no choice.
Yeah.
And I probably sat there for quite a while eating that burrito.
I bet you did, because you do not like eating stuff you don't want to eat.
No, and that might be where my brother got his, like, just mix anything together and just eat it.
He eats everything mixed together.
My dad did that too, though. So with him, it was like, no big deal. Just put it all in here and eat it.
Because, like, I would make dishes where it was like, this had this seasoning and this, and I spent all this time making, like, all these different dishes, side dishes.
Dump it all in a bowl.
Dump it all in one bowl. I was like, Chris, you can't even taste all of it.
And stir it up.
And, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, it's good this way. I'm like, no, you're ruining it.
It's like the KFC famous bowl.
You sound just like him. So funny.
So
yeah,
if you're gonna give them a choice, give them a legitimate choice. Otherwise, don't give them a choice.
Yes. All right, then some other things that we want to work on our delivery. Okay, so when you are explaining rules, so we're talking other options to yelling. When you're explaining the rules, you're doing it calmly. This is some things that are going to help you with your delivery. Look at them.
Yeah.
So if you ever, I've done this where I'm like cooking and doing dishes at the same time, and I'm like telling my girls, hey, I need you to go da 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 da, right? And I have no idea if they were looking at me or not. I wasn't looking at them, right? So look at them to make sure that they're listening to you, that they even you have their attention.
Well, and this happens even as couples, right? Because we're getting to record this episode right now, and I got everything set up, and I said I'm gonna go to the car. I had left an energy drink I bought yesterday.
How do you match your cans with your t-shirts every time?
I know, it looks nice. If you're really on YouTube, amazing. You can see it purple on purple. But
it's beautiful, babe.
I left it in the car. This episode brought to you by Monster Ultra Wild Passion. Just kidding.
We better get some money for that.
So I'm going to go out to the car, and then I'll be ready to go. The girl's going to take our little photo that we use for the thumbnail, and we're going to get started. So,
and I'm paying the car registration
At the
for
kitchen island.
4 cars, looking up insurance policy numbers to write down.
So
I'm a little distracted.
I go out, I walk past Lysandra out to the garage, open the garage door, go out to the van, come back in, close everything up, walk over here, and I'm like testing the mic. So I'm like testing 1, 2. We've got things around us and on the computer so that I can see the volumes and just check and make sure we're good. And like nothing. I literally count to 30 and all the girls are like, you know, you do testing 1, 2. I went all the way up to 30. And then one of the girls was like, Dad, you might need to go up to like 100.
I did not hear that.
And I'm like, honey. No, I didn't yell like that, but
No, but you did have to say it loud enough for me to hear or like break my concentration.
But like you're saying, like you don't know if you're not looking at them in the face, because I could not even see Lysandra from where I'm sitting right now. Mm-hmm. If you're not looking at them in the face, your children in the face, you really have no idea if they're hearing you, if they're paying attention.
That's right. So you need to look at them. One thing you can do is put your hands on their shoulders. Now, we're not talking about pinching here or like we're not talking about like
the church pinch.
No fingernails in their shoulders, but just placing your hands gently on their shoulders. You're face to face, really you're in their face, but not in a negative way, right? Making sure that they have your attention, you have their attention. So that may mean turning off the TV, turning off the game, turning off the phone. You don't need to yell to get your child's attention. Turn off the television. They will be looking around. What happened?
Yeah.
Who is there? You have their attention. No yelling.
Yeah. Another thing when you're just talking about like being clearly understood, don't sound like a broken record.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're saying the same things over and over again,
yes,
stop. Mm-hmm. Stop. Because kids become conditioned to wait to respond until you've said something for the 5th time.
Yeah, if you allow that to go on.
Yeah.
They'll figure that out so fast. It took Abigail 3 days.
Yeah. But it's like we as a species, like as human beings, we fall into patterns so quickly. Mm-hmm. We fall into routines so quickly. So they start to learn what your pattern is, what your routine is. So you've got to train them that, hey, when I say something, I mean it. Mm-hmm. That your words actually have value, and that's what the scripture teaches us as well. Like Jesus said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Like, in other words, what you say should be what you mean, and you should mean what you say. And if you just keep on repeating things over and over and over again, your kids learn that you don't really mean what you say. Mm-hmm. So give them specific instructions. I'd say no more than twice.
Yeah, twice is enough.
And be sure to follow through with appropriate consequences if they don't comply. Mm-hmm. Now, once again, going back to what Lysandra has talked about, you're making sure they hear you, making sure they understand what you're saying, your instructions, your expectations, and all of that.
Yeah. So we have Legos out in our house right now because for the Advent calendar this year, we got them a Lego set that is a Christmas tree. And there's packs of Legos, 24 packs of Legos. And the girls are taking turns on each day in December assembling some of this tree. So we have Legos out right now. So let's think about Legos, because if you are a parent who has ever yelled at your children, there's a good chance it was because you stepped on a Lego.
Oh, yeah.
Or many, many times. I remember I did. But maybe,
I'm pretty sure that's part of like Marine training is like walking across Legos barefoot.
Yes. So maybe you're trying to get your kids to pick up their Legos. We've been there. So you say, please go upstairs and put your Lego pieces in the blue bin. You're being specific. You're telling them exactly what to do. If they don't listen to you the first time, warn them that they won't be able to play Legos for the rest of the day if they don't clean them up. So that's your second telling them to do it, right? And if they don't obey then you take the Legos away right away. Like you get up off the couch, stop doing dishes, whatever you're doing, and you go take the Legos.
Paying the car registration.
Yeah, whatever you're doing, stop what you're doing and go take the Legos away. The next time you tell them to take away the Lego or to go put their Legos away, they're going to do it. It's got to be more action, less talking.
Yeah.
I think is really one of the keys. And not a huff and puff. Fine, I'll take all these Legos. Not like that.
No, you can do
Just
it calmly.
a calm. This is the consequence, buddy. Sorry, you didn't do what you were supposed to do, and I'm very sad to have to take your Legos but now you're not playing Legos, and that's going to hurt you probably in the long run, because now they don't have Legos to keep them distracted. They're going to bug you a lot more probably.
Probably, yeah, but you still gotta go.
Gotta do it.
Through that.
Parenting.
Yeah. So let's talk about regulating your own emotions. So that you can model healthy responses, right?
That's good. Yeah, because our model is the best way to get our kids not to yell and get them to listen to us. The best way is for us to model it.
Right. So if you don't understand how to regulate your own emotions, it's impossible to teach your kids how to do it as well. So it starts by just calming down physically before you correct your child. There
is a physical response to disobedience in me as a parent. When my kids disobey, I feel like my heart rate goes up, my chest gets tighter. The anger, I can feel it physically.
Yep.
You too?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I literally start to get hot. Where it's like,
temperature
you're not
hot.
listening. I feel like you're disrespecting me, or especially if they're disrespecting you, I can't stand that at all. So like there is this like physical response that is happening when you get angry and you get upset, you get frustrated. We have these physical responses that are kind of built into us. And so you may need to learn how to calm down physically before you correct your child.
Yeah.
As we talked about, if I do things when I'm angry and I'm upset, it's most likely not going to be the right thing and done in the right way. You're going to do more harm than good. So your nervous system leads the interaction. So if you slow down, everything else follows. So just try to take one deep breath before speaking. Just like, you may need to do that a couple times, depending on what they've done, but depending on like how upset you are or frustrated. Like you may have to do that a couple of times, where it's just like you physically have to slow down, because when we get angry, we start to huff, we start to our
heart rate,
breathing starts
blood
to
pressure.
Speed up. Like we have to just take and like let's slow that down a little bit.
Lower it.
We are to be in control. We know as followers of Jesus, one of the fruit of the Spirit and a sign of living under control of the Holy Spirit is self-control. So I'm not going to allow the way that my kids respond or their disobedience, my anger, my frustration to control me and my interactions, right? I want to be under control. And so just taking a couple of seconds just to take some deep breaths, like drop your shoulders down, like physically changing your posture. Because a lot of times when we're angry or upset, we like, especially as a man, like we kind of like tense up, we beef up, right?
Yeah.
So like physically just allowing my shoulders to drop, releasing the tension in my physical muscles, like just letting that kind of relax, lowering your voice by a level. So like you're doing these physical things to help bring you down a notch. And maybe just like pausing a few seconds before you respond. A calm body communicates authority more effectively than a loud voice.
That's
so
right.
When I am calm and I'm under control, like that says a lot more to my kids than if I'm tense and I'm angry and there's this loud outburst.
Right. And you may be able to handle everything like Thomas just described, like in that moment, but maybe you can't. In that case, step away briefly.
Oh, there's been times where I've had to step away. I'm like,
yeah,
I need to get away right now for a little bit here.
Yep, exactly. And you can even say, I need to calm down. I'll be back. Because that what's so great is this models it for your kids, because there are times when they're going to need to take a step away before everything escalates in their own relationships. So you're showing them how to do that, and not just walking away. Walking away without saying anything is not a healthy response.
No. Yeah.
Because that feels like you're deserting them, or you're so angry with them you can't even look at them or whatever. But just saying, I need a minute to calm down, that puts the responsibility on your own self. You're not saying, I can't stand looking at you right now. That's not the same thing. Saying, I need a moment to calm down, I'll be right back. So they know that you're coming back. You're not so angry, you're deserting them. You're coming back, but you need a moment. And maybe you do need to build in like a calm down routine for yourself, something that you do that helps you to calm down, like the breathing Thomas talked about. Maybe it's counting backwards. I would not like that, but you could do that if you would enjoy that. Splashing water on your face. I would hate that.
Yeah.
But something that you might do that.
I need to waterboard myself so that
Right. I don't like water on my face at all. But stepping outside could be the thing, or even taking a minute to visualize what's the kind of parent I want to be in this situation. Taking a minute to think about that. A lot of times yelling happens when we don't take a break to think.
yeah.
It's a response, it's a reaction, it's off the cuff, it's craziness. It's like it's not controlled.
Yeah. I think another important part of the process is knowing your personal triggers.
Yes.
So we've got to understand that, like, as we mentioned in the opening, parenting is tough. Like, things are going to happen. And a lot of times we walk into a parent, like, let's just say, like, we're on a battlefield somewhere and there's a field of landmines in front of us. And we know it, right? The sign says, like, caution, landmines ahead. And we kind of in parenting just like walk around like oblivious. Mm-hmm. Like we just step out into the field of landmines without thinking about the fact that, hey, something's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Like we know in parenting things are going to happen. Your kids are going to disobey. They are going to be disrespectful to you. Like things are going to happen. They're going to forget stuff.
Yep.
Like they're human, just like you're human. You make mistakes, you fail, you do things you shouldn't, you say things you shouldn't, you're disrespectful, you're selfish, you're thoughtless. Like we all are.
Yes, we are.
And our kids are just little people who haven't figured things out as much as we have yet. Mm-hmm. And so like things are going to happen. So you've got to know like stuff's going to happen. Well, what are your personal triggers? Mm-hmm. Like, what type of behavior makes me lose control? Mm-hmm. I was talking with a dad last week, and I just talked about, for some reason we got on the topic of, like, kids being disrespectful to adults. And it's like, I don't care what the situation is, like, that is something that really, really bothers me that I have a hard time with. And I know that is one of those triggers where if I'm not thoughtful in understanding, like, hey, this could happen in this moment, like I could lose control myself.
Yeah.
So just having that knowledge that as I step into this parenting situation, certain things can and will probably happen, making sure that I know what that trigger is.
One of my biggest triggers for parenting is if one of my kids is mean to their sister.
Yeah.
Like any unkindness makes me furious in any situation. So like if I see another woman being unkind to another woman, I am angry. I am angry at the situation and I'm angry at the person who is being unkind. That's like a huge trigger for me because kindness is really important to me. So I know that like when one of my girls does something that is mean, says a little snippy thing to try to hurt her sister, I go after that, right? So, but I also know because I'm so like triggered by that I have to like kind of take a deep breath and think about the way I want to talk to that daughter because I don't want to do the thing that makes me angry, be mean to her, right? Yeah. So I have to be really calm when I approach her and I have to really think it through.
So when we talk about understanding your triggers, we also want to understand why is that so triggering to you? Mm-hmm. And figure out what is the belief that's under that reaction that you have. So
it stems from somewhere.
For instance, it's like being disrespected. Why is that such a trigger for me? Well, if you really dig down deep, it has something to do with my own personal pride. Right? Pride is at the heart of whatever reason why that is so volatile towards me. It could be you feel like, hey, I'm failing. Look at their behavior. I'm failing. Yeah. They never listen. Like there's certain things that there's some reason why that is a trigger.
It can also be because like you know that your parents think that children are good if they do this and they're bad if they do that. So like if your children do the thing that your parents think is bad, it's embarrassing for you. You know your parents will kind of sort of judge you, or you feel like they will. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Maybe it's in your own mind. But that, I think, is a big trigger for a lot of people.
It can also stem from how you were treated or things that happened to you as a child as well.
Which is why the kindness thing is important to me.
And you've got to work through situations, but you need to kind of rewrite that story. Mm-hmm. And instead of whatever the internal monologue that's been taking place for you to have this outburst and be really triggered by, you need to just remind yourself, hey, they're learning. I can guide them. This is not an emergency. Mm-hmm. Like, they're just being kids. Mm-hmm. There's times I have to remind myself, like, they're just being kids right now. Like,
including as teenagers, or especially as teenagers.
Where it's like, okay, the kids know what time we go to bed.
Which is early.
Earlier than them. And, you know, like it happened last night. They had friends here last night, and they're playing games, and they're laughing, and they're having a good time. They're being loud.
Yep.
But they're not doing anything wrong.
No, they're being teenagers.
And those are moments where I have to, like, okay, they're not being disobedient. They're not doing anything. They're not being disrespectful. They're just being kids, and that's okay. That's the environment I want them to be in. But even when it comes to their disobedience, disrespect, and whatever else, like, you have to remind yourself, like, they're just a kid. They're learning. And so, like, take it down a notch. Yes, you should still follow through with discipline and all that kind of stuff, but you don't need to be uber triggered and have this great emotional outburst. Like, you're the adult in the room.
Act like it. All right, here's something that helped me a lot when my kids were little. It helps me now too, to a certain extent, but especially when they were little. And that is to use routines and boundaries to reduce chaos. Chaos makes me want to yell. Chaos makes me feel chaotic emotionally, and it would come out as yelling here and there. So yelling can really feel like you're overwhelmed. It's not necessarily the child's behavior itself. And we know that even relationally with your spouse, right? There are times when you lose it on your spouse and it really doesn't have anything to do with them. Yeah. It's this thing over here that's causing stress. And that's the way it is with our kids too, but they don't deserve that. We shouldn't be like that. But if you can create some predictable routines in your life that are predictable for you and for them, it can help both of you have less stress, both the child and the parent, and it can just create a more peaceful, calm home. So, we're talking about routines for bedtime, routines for chores, routines for mornings, how to get out to school on time, routines for screen time, routines for play dates, and what happens when company comes over. Routines are really important. Now, getting organized can help you to feel less chaotic and less stressed. But here is the double-edged sword with this, and you will understand this in my life. Trying to get organized can make me insane. Yeah. So, like, the process of getting organized, like when my garage is disorganized and I'm so mad that it's disorganized again, which I said this morning. And I'm like, ugh, everything's so chaotic. And I want to just, like, I don't, but I want to blame you, blame the girls, and start yelling at everybody.
Blame Christmas.
I do blame Christmas. It's because we got all the Christmas stuff out, and then it's like, okay, do we want to put it all back because we're going to put it all away in January? Maybe we should just leave it out, but then that's out, so it's in the way of this thing that needs to be put back over there, and you guys get it. You know you've got your own issues like this. So just be careful, because trying to reduce the chaos can create chaos.
Yeah.
And sometimes it has to get worse before it can get better, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I think also one of the things we've got to understand as a parent is you have to kind of make sure that you're doing everything you can do to be the best version of yourself that you can be. Mm-hmm. When you're exhausted, when you're tired, you're weak, you're unhealthy, then it's hard to stay calm. It's hard to have that self-control. And so making sure that you put yourself in a good, healthy routine each day, exercising, eating healthy, drinking water, a little bit of quiet time as much as possible, especially
time with God.
Those of you with toddlers, taking a walk, going to bed early, asking somebody for help. Your emotional health is a part of your child's emotional safety as well.
True.
And so as you can work to make sure that you are doing the things that you need to do, that'll help you when it comes to your parenting as well.
That's right. This is so super duper important. I hope that everyone is listening right now. This one's really important. Repair the relationship after you yell. Maybe you slip up. Maybe you make a mistake. And Thomas talked about this. He talked about having to go to the girls and say, I'm sorry that I did this. And I talked about it having to do the same thing when I yelled to get my daughter to do her schoolwork. This is something that we implement in our home. This is something that my dad implemented when I was a child. He always came back and apologized if he lost his temper. This is so vitally important. It shows your kids that you are human, that everyone makes mistakes, but you're not afraid to own that mistake.
Yeah.
It shows them what to do when they make a mistake. It's just so very important. And it breaks the cycle of yelling, because you say something like, I shouldn't have yelled. I'm really working on staying calm. I'm working on not yelling anymore. That right there is going to start to break the cycle itself, because you've made it public in your home that you're trying to stop the yelling.
Yeah.
And it teaches them humility. Like, when we make a mistake, we're humble enough to admit it. It teaches how to repair relationships in general. It teaches emotional awareness. And it also is going to help you to stop the repetitive pattern of yelling. So this is a really important one. Make sure that you're repairing the relationship after you yell. So if you are somebody who says, like, okay, this is a struggle with me. I've been yelling. I feel like I can't get my kids to listen to me without yelling. Maybe you have this like feeling of disrespect. Now you have some practical tools. You have some biblical wisdom that's going to help you build a more peaceful, cooperative home. So really start making that shift in the atmosphere in your family right now. It takes one calm conversation at a time. One, implementing the consequences without screaming or without constantly repeating yourself. One at a time. And you can get that relief, that calm, peaceful home. And we have a bonus resource for you if you feel like you need a little bit more on this topic. 10 phrases that gets kids to listen without yelling. And we want to share that with you. Simply email us at info@familymeeting.com, info@familymeeting.com.
All right, try that one more time.
And
to
it's
make sure
.org.
we got it. Yes.
Okay, everybody stop. Ignore everything I've said so far.
Maybe put that in the notes next time. Actually, it's right down here.
Yeah,
also.
it's right there. I'm going to read that. info@familymeeting.org.
Yeah.
Okay, email us and we'll send you that bonus resource.
And so, family meeting tonight, you're gonna sit down and have a conversation that may be difficult as a parent. You sit down as a family and you're just going to talk and ask your kids some questions. And you're going to start by just asking, do you feel like dad yells? Do you feel like mom yells? Mm-hmm. And see what kind of feedback you get. If the feedback is yes, or sometimes, then as Lysander mentioned just a second ago, you need to own that. We need to own that and just say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry about that. Like that's not a way that we should treat one another. It's not a way we should communicate with each other. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to work to change. And then you're having conversations like, do you feel like dad means what he says when he says it? And just having a conversation about this, about the way that it should be, the way that it's going to be from here on out, what we're going to try to do, and changing the way that we communicate with each other, that yelling is not going to be a part of our family moving forward, that there's a better way to do this and communicate with each other. And so it may be a hard conversation, a difficult conversation to have, but once you have this conversation, it will help you to take the next steps forward to make sure that you're modeling to your children the kind of way that they ought to be interacting with one another.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for joining us today. Please go and subscribe to the Family Meeting Podcast from your favorite podcast provider. And if you found this information helpful, please share this episode on social media and invite your friends and families to listen in with you.
To find more content and information Lysander and I provide, you can go to our website, familymeeting.org, or email us at info@familymeeting.org. If you'd like to shoot us a text or call us, you can send a voice message at 904-257-3733. 3062.
And we want to invite you to join us for our next family meeting as we discuss a little bit of a hot topic. We're going to discuss sex struggles that married people go through.
Okay.
And these are going to get a little specific. I think it'll be a good discussion, and I think it's going to make everybody feel like, oh, I'm not the only one.
Not the only one, yes. Thanks for joining us today for this family meeting. Have a great week, everybody. This meeting is adjourned.
Hey, thanks for listening with us today about yelling. I would love to hear from you what kinds of things that you do to regulate your emotions so that you don't yell at your kids. I also want to hear from you about maybe what you do rather than yelling. What is the thing that works in your house to get your kids to listen besides yelling? We can learn from you, and we don't know it all. There's things that we've missed. So we would love to hear from you on that this week. And other than that, have a great time getting ready for Christmas. Enjoy the season. Take some time to look at the lights and sing the carols and have a good time with your family this season. And we will leave you with that until next week. Bye-bye.